Hey you guys, good morning, welcome back to my garden. The roosters are crowing. It's about 9:30 in the morning. The baby's down for a nap, so I'm gonna get some things done in the garden and wanted to bring you guys along. So let's get going. Whoa! I thought about maybe putting these tater tot arborvitaes over here somewhere for additional structure, but I don't think I'm going to. So I'm gonna stick them on the golf cart to get them out of the way, and then we'll get going on some other things out here. The first thing I'm gonna do is dig up all of these gladiolas that are super flopped over and just not looking good at all because they are completely shaded under this chase tree. They didn't do much for me this year. They're yellow. Best I can tell, the ones that did bloom were all yellow. So I'm gonna get these out of here, get them somewhere else. I realize this isn't the ideal time to be doing this. However, I'm not gonna wait till spring to dig up the bulbs and transplant them because the foliage would have died back by then and I'm not even gonna know where they are. So I'm just gonna get them out of here now, find a good home for them, stick them in the ground. I read that you need to cut them down to just a couple inches above the bulb and then I'll bury them and we should be okay. And we'll see if they bloom next year. They may not. We'll just have to see and test it out. But I'm gonna think positive. I think it'll be all right. So I don't even think I'm gonna necessarily dig. I think I'm just gonna pull them up. Maybe that's not a good idea. That one might not come up. Yeah, these are coming. So there we go. I think I'm just gonna pull them up rather than dig and make a bigger mess of my mulch over here. This might not be the way to do it, but y'all, if it works and if it's easier, then why make things harder on yourself? Ooh, my drip hose is like right under the my drip hose is right under that one. We're going to slide it out. Woo! Okay. This is going to make this area look so much better. This will be a good cleanup, if nothing else. On another note, look how thick these branches are on my chase tree already. This is only year 3 and they are so thick. And this is considered a shrub, which is crazy. But I think I'm going to make this a little bit more of a tree form next year, and I'm going to plant more of the hostas up around it. I think that'll be really pretty all through here once I get all these gladiolas out of here. All right, this is all I got. There's not very much over here. My main gladiola patch was on the other side of the creek, and they actually did really well this year because they get plenty of sun. 2 things I know that I want to do, and I've talked about this in other videos, is this Alaskan daisy patch right here. I want to get that out of the way, and then I'm going to move this spirea because if you can see, this is supposed to be my walking path and I have to stretch through, like there's no path, and I don't want to have to worry about like trimming these up all the time. So I'm going to move one of those spireas out of the way, and then I might adjust my walking path just a little bit so I don't have to dig up the other spirea to make sure it's far enough away that I'm not dealing with that anymore, and that'll make this little area look nicer too. Alright guys, I got this spirea dug up. That was a lot, but we got it. I was planning on sticking it right here. I still might do that. It would be right here beside this crepe myrtle that is going to get, I believe, 3 to 4 foot wide. Kokomo crepe myrtle, 2 to 3 tall and 2 to 3 wide. So I think from this angle that would be pretty. I think that would work well. All right, so I got it dug up from here. I think I'm gonna plant it back right here. That way my coral rose, this rose will have more room to grow. It's just kind of getting swallowed. I need to cut back some of this butterfly bush too. But here's my dilemma. I still don't really have much of a walking path, and I just planted this bobo hydrangea this year, so it's going to get really big right here, and I'm not going to be able to get through. I either need to move the spirea or I need to move the hydrangea. I'm kind of thinking I might move the hydrangea because, again, I don't want my rose to completely get overtaken. And when the hydrangea, it's a bobo hydrangea, but it's still going to get, what do they say, 3 to 4 foot tall. It's going to hide my rose again, and my rose might not get enough sun still. And this is way more rooted in. The hydrangea I just put in this year, so it could stand to get moved because it's not very established, I think. And then my pathway, I could bend and have it come out like right here, and that would get it away from this spirea. Sometimes she just wants to be held. If I move the hydrangea, that would open up that spot a little bit better, I think. And then I also need to move all of these globe amaranth that are in the pathway. They're very thistly. They're cool and great in arrangements, but they're very thistly, and I don't want to be walking by touching those. So I'm going to move those also. So let's at least get the hydrangea dug up. You guys, I have dug up a lot of stuff. This is kind of like a whole little revamp over here. I dug up 3 big Alaskan daisy plants. They were all from seed, so I'm not super worried about those. Super easy to grow, very prolific. I had some irises that I had stuck over here a year or 2 ago. They were completely in the shade. I'm going to transplant those somewhere. I got those globe amaranth up. I need to transplant those somewhere. Got those gladiolas still, but I think I've decided I've got my path kind of reworking. I think you all saw me working on that. I need to go get another stone to put right here to finish my pathway up, which will be super easy. I've got more left over from my last pathway project up in the woods, so we'll go pick that up here in a little bit. Right here where I've been digging, where the cat's passing by, that's where I've decided to put the bobo hydrangea. I've got a clematis that's growing up behind it. I'm going to put it right there. It gets 3 to 4 foot wide. The coral rose that you see, just the one little bloom right here, it gets about 4 to 4.5 foot wide, so I've got them spaced out just enough to where they might touch in the future, but that should give the rose ample room to grow and to do better than it's doing now. I probably will cut back a little bit of the butterfly bush, although I love how this one right here is coming out, but that's kind of the one that's getting in the way of the rose as well. So I don't know, we'll see. I've got to get the spirea in the ground over here. I'm going to leave this spirea alone. So I need to go get my auger, and then we will get these in the ground. All right, I went and got my auger, and I went and put those tater tot arborvitaes away to give me a little more room on my golf cart because it is packed out with plants. So let's get going on getting the bobo hydrangea in the ground first. It'll be a smaller hole, and then we'll get the spirea right here and keep going. All right, guys, I've got the bobo hydrangea in the ground. I think it's gonna look really good there. My path is now cleared up. I'm gonna get the spirea in the ground next. You know, starting all of these gardens, if y'all have been following along for any length of time, this is all pretty new to me, just in the past 3 years. And a lot of things got planted in places that I just stuck them because I didn't really know what else to do, or I hadn't really planned things along, and I was just getting things and sticking them wherever. Didn't have a pathway over here yet or anything like that. So the more I garden, the more I realize what I like, what I don't like, how I want things to come together, how important structural plants are, the shrubs, and realizing that things actually do get big, they don't stay small. And I just realized what I like, you know? And so through time, all of these things are getting adjusted. It's okay to rearrange and to adjust and to make things better, because I think it's going to be really better in the long run. But let's get the spirea in the ground. Take a drive up the hill to get another stepping stone or two to finish up that pathway that we were working on earlier. The baby is down for another nap, so we'll at least get that done and see what else we can work on. Hopefully find a spot for these gladiolas and the iris and different things, so we'll see. All right, we got some big ones here, so I'm gonna have to, I think that one over there would work. And then maybe this one right here. So I might grab those two. Yep, those are the two. I'm not doing these big suckers. I'm gonna back up and get some mulch too. I see I have a couple more bags of mulch back there. All right, guys, I got 3 stones that I can pick from to work on this path. I think I'm gonna replace a couple of them that are like extra small with some that are a little bit bigger. Then I got some mulch, so I can mulch up an area that I tore up when I planted those gladiolus to make that look a lot nicer. So my mulch is on. My mulch is on my rock, so I guess I gotta do the mulch first. Let's go do that. Little area was looking really rough, lots of clay dirt showing, but I think that makes it look a whole lot better. Wish I could go ahead and do everything, but I can't. So we're gonna move on to getting our last stone down for the pathway. I think that looks a lot better. I'm gonna plant the globe amaranth pink back behind the azalea that we just planted and kind of beside the bobo hydrangea. That way these are along the fence line. I can't touch them. They'll grow up, they'll bloom, I can cut them back, and it'll just be something to add some interest along the line, and we'll see how we like that. So they are very wilty. I'm gonna soak them real good before I put them in the ground, but they seem pretty tough, so I think we'll be all right. I'm gonna let these soak really good. While these are soaking, we'll go ahead and dig our holes. I only need 3. They're not gonna be that deep because these are like a more shallow tuber, I guess. So let's go ahead and get digging. Sad little specimens, but hopefully they pick back up and do okay. Maybe I should just cut it back all the way. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it like that for now and just kind of see what happens. Thank you so much for joining me in the garden today. I think we've got things looking pretty good. Got that stuff in the ground, and I'm gonna call it a day. But I've got some really beautiful plants I want to show you guys in the next video that we'll find a good place for and get those put in the ground. So I hope that you will subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell so you get notified when a new video does post, and I will see you next time. Happy gardening.